Hello. Happy Start Your Planner Day. I wanted to do a live video, just kind of like walking through setting up your planner. Um, but I'm just so excited and I can't wait to start working in mine. So I thought maybe other people are excited about it too. So I just wanted to go ahead and film it. And since I have a lot of trouble with uploading videos and stuff, anyways, I figured I may as well do it as soon as possible just in case it takes, 5 times as long as it should to upload a video. So, um, thank you to everyone who has supported this project, especially those who supported the Kickstarter and everyone that's ordered so far for for this copy. I really just can't thank you enough, and I kind of can't believe that we're almost here. I can't believe that we are halfway through 2021. Um, but that's a whole nother whole nother story. I mean, 2020 felt like 10 years, and this year is flying by in like a second. Um, I also want to shout out to all the wonderful artists that I stole artwork from um, to make this planner. I really want to point out the cover artist, and primarily her work is throughout the entire planner. Um, and um, it was her artwork was honestly kind of one of the things that pushed me to go ahead and like um, finish the planner or like put it out in the world, because I was trying to do everything myself, and then I discovered that you could, oh my god, like pay people to do the artwork. And I was just looking through like all these different moon artwork, and I came across Croixy, and I was looking like I think it may have been this image that like got me to look at the rest of her work, and looking in the rest of her work, um, I noticed that this was also her work. And this is one of my favorite books ever. It's like totally beat up because I come back to it again and again. It's really great for empowering yourself and just finding that courage and strength within you. And it uses the elements, so I was really drawn to it. But, anyways, it's the same artist that did the cover of this, and that really pushed me. Like, I felt like that was a sign to keep working on the planner and keep just taking one step at a time and making it work. But then once I made it work, it really was the supporters that pushed me to put it out there and actually sell it. Like, I would have just printed it for myself and kept it for myself for nobody else to read or see. Um, and it's all thanks to you that didn't happen and other people get to read it. So thank you so much. I really can't thank you enough. Um, I hope that you are enjoying it so far. I know there's like a lot to read through and everything. And I know if you're just starting out with working with the moon, I know it can be kind of overwhelming at first. And you might think, like, oh, I have to like remember to look at the moon every day and remember to like do something associated with the moon that day, or just like adjust your life to the moon cycle. And it's not going to all happen at once. That's not going to be possible because most of us are out of sync with the moon cycle. um, that's just how our modern lives are. So just don't put pressure on yourself. I mean, seriously, like 10 years ago when I started focusing on the moon was through gardening. And as far as like on a personal level, I only ever celebrated the full moon because it's fun and it's bright and it's there's so much energy around it. And I really only used to celebrate the full moon. And then I got to a point where I was like, well, maybe I should pay attention to the new moon too. Like I finally got to a point in my life where I figured out where I wanted to go and wanted to use it for manifestation purposes. And the new moon is the best cycle to work for things and planning things out and setting goals and setting intentions. Um, so really, it just kind of was like new moon, full moon. But then there's like these 2 weeks in between that I felt like lost. I mean, there's so many people that do full moon ceremonies or new moon ceremonies online. And it was just like, well, what about these other 2 weeks where I'm like struggling? It's like on the new moon, you can be so enthusiastic about setting your intentions, but then a week later, you're like, wait, it's not working. Like, what do I do here? And then at the full moon, it's like, I don't have anything to celebrate. Like, I'm not, I'm not going anywhere. So I really needed those in between times. And that's why I try to focus on each quarter of the moon at least weekly for in this planner. Um, just because I was really feeling lost, especially only celebrating the full moon. There was just like, what, there's so much more to it. So if you just take like little pieces, like little chunks and little quarters, um, it'll eventually make sense. Um, and my personal cycle does not sync up to the new moon all the time. I have had times where I menstruate on the new moon, and it's it's like it's kind of wild. It's like you feel like you are hibernating. You feel like you're in flow, and I kind of like really get the most out of the dark moon phase when I am menstruating around that time, because it just makes sense. Like you have to like give your body a break and rest. And for me during that time, I have to take a break. I have to be easy on myself. Um, but my cycle doesn't always sync up to the new moon. So like don't feel like um, you're out of whack or whatever. I mean, I have no idea why I've never had a consistent cycle, and like sometimes I'm on the full moon, and it's just it varies. So don't, like, your cycle is going to change throughout your life and throughout the different phases of your life, just like the phases of the moon. So don't put pressure on yourself, and just take one step at a time. Like, so the last, just looking at the first pages here, um, it's not going to all happen at once. Just take one step at a time. One phase will lead into another, and you'll find peace in taking a deep breath and thinking to yourself, it's just a phase. And this is kind of like my mantra. Whenever I'm like feeling really low and having low energy or being depressed or anxious, I'm just like, what is going on? Like, why am I feeling like this? But then I just stop, and just having that thought of, it's just a phase, like tomorrow will be better. And with looking at the moon signs, that really helps me, because if I'm feeling really low and depressed during a water sign, I know that in a few days I'll feel better, because it'll be in a fire or air or earth sign. Like, it'll just switch every few days. So when you're at a very low point, sometimes it feels like it's going to be forever and last forever, and you're just like, why can't I pull myself out of this? And by realizing that that feeling will only last a few days, helps me at least to pull myself out of those really low points in my life. So just take a deep breath. It's just a phase. It's just a phase. And remember that the universe loves you and thanks you for being uniquely you. Shadow, light, new, and full in all of the quarters too. I have to keep telling myself over and over and over again. So just like the whole beginning of it is just kind of recapping the entire year, just mostly for those who didn't use the first half of the planner. But for if you did use the first half of the planner, I think it's, because we're at this midpoint in the year, I think it's good to just kind of reflect on the first half of the year and look at your word of the year, look at your New Year's resolution, and look at how the seasons go, how the moons follow the seasons, how the new and the full moon kind of follow the seasons, and how you always have a new moon in that season sign during its season. Um, so this just kind of recaps everything and helps you get like um, just kind of like see the flow of the year, like how the wheel of the year kind of flows and how it corresponds to the moon cycle. And just also a reminder to join the Facebook group. So now there's two groups. There's a Facebook page now, which there wasn't before, but now there's a Facebook page, and that is just for the general public and for like just giving information, like general information about things. But then there's the It's Just a Phase Planner Facebook group, and that is private. You have to request to join, or somebody has to refer you. I'm trying to keep it just people that have the planner so that it's more private and intimate. You can feel comfortable sharing your experience with following the moon phases, and also just feel comfortable to just share anything, like anything that you're going through. I want it to be like a very supportive, safe space for. I'm usually the only one that's posting things, but I did take off the restrictions so that it used to you used to have to get approved to post something, but and the only reason I did that, I wasn't like trying to restrict any content or anything. Um, the only reason I did that is because I'm in another group that does that, and that way like I will get to see everything that gets posted, and I won't miss anything, and like I'll be able to comment it, and I'll see it, and I'll read it, and like I'll just it makes me feel seen when this other group does that. So because some groups get really big and like your posts get lost and you're just like, why is nobody like why doesn't anybody feel the same way that I do? So that was really important to me because of so much of the getting into the moon phases is how you feel related to the moon phases. And so I didn't want anyone to feel like they were unseen, or that nobody else felt the same way that they did, because that's the whole reason I wanted to start this, is to make you feel like you have a community and make you feel not crazy for feeling the things that you are feeling. Like our bodies are affected by the moon. It's a fact. Like it just is. Some people more than others, but honestly, I think when you pay attention to it, everybody, like if everybody paid attention to it, then um, you would notice it. Like I'm a Pisces rising, so I think I'm an empath, so I feel everything anyways. But I know I'm not the only one, and I don't want you to feel like you're the only one either. So yeah, join the group. I really want everyone to feel seen and heard and everything like that. And if you're having trouble finding anything, just let me know, and I'll try to point you in that direction, because I bet now that there is a page and a group, it might be confusing of like which one to join and all that stuff. So moving on through, this will take us to your birth chart and the keywords of the zodiac signs and the planets. I usually recommend astro.com for getting your birth chart. You have to know your birth time, the location that you were born, as well as the date. If you don't know your birth time, I recommend just putting in the day, and some of the chart generators like have a default of like sunrise. I like to use noon sometimes, but you can check a whole bunch of different times and see what is actually changing on that day, because sometimes nothing will change. Sometimes just one planet will change. The time is important, but it is possible to just kind of like, and I point out my mother's chart in the planner because um, the day. Oh, just sometimes different chart generators um, are more concise than others. Like I have a program on the computer that for some reason says that my mom's moon is different from what every other chart generator um, says for her. So I just go by like just knowing her as a person, what it feels like to me. And you know yourself, if you read like that you have a Leo moon and you're like, whoa, I don't feel like that at all. Then you probably don't. It might be a Virgo moon or it might be a Cancer moon. Um, just because the time does matter, but I really think that you can feel into what feels right to you if you check a bunch of different times throughout the day. I would probably do like sunrise, noon, and then 6 p.m. and then midnight on the day that you were born. So check those four and see like how different it is, how different the planets are. And like I said, you might only have like one different planet. So I usually recommend Astro, but astro.com. Some other members in the group recommend cafeastrology.com. And I just recently, I don't know how, I didn't know about this because I love Chani Nicholas, the astrologer, and she has a chart generator, which I knew because she announced it when her book came out a couple years ago. And I don't know why I guess I just assumed, well, I already have my chart. I don't need to use hers. But I used her chart to run, or her chart generator to run somebody else's chart. And it was like, it was so perfect. It was like perfect for this planner because for each planet, I think it was, well, each planet and aspect and stuff, she also does keywords. So I just really love keywords, and it was totally perfect. And the person's chart that I was running, I was gonna like the information that her chart generator gives you was what I was going to have to think and write out and give to the person anyways. So it's just so helpful to just like have it all written out for you. I was even kind of stuck. I was like trying to like just kind of like test my brain of how good I am at reading charts, and it was like, wait, this chart generator does it all for you, so I didn't even really have to do anything. So I highly recommend. It's I think it's Chani, or yeah, ChaniNicholas.com, I think. But you can just search for Chani Nicholas, and she has all sorts of stuff. I highly recommend her astrology app as well. As well as, what are the ones I use? I use moon apps. I use Deluxe Moon. I also use Time Passages for an astrology app. I've got a ton of, I mean, there's a ton of moon apps on there, but so far Deluxe Moon has been my favorite. There used to be one that I used to use a long time ago, and I don't know what happened. They just stopped updating it, and now I can't even use it. So, but it was a really good one. I don't know why they stopped. I guess they lost funding or something. So yeah, just the next section is how to use the planner, but I'm gonna kind of walk through all of that anyways. You have a 2020 calendar and 2021 calendar, as well as 2022. And then we move into the different phases of the moon, and again with the keywords. I love keywords. I guess the biggest thing about remembering the phases that helps me is, I mean, the new moon and the dark moon is when there's no light. Waxing is when the light is increasing, and waxing is if the light sliver, like if the crescent or the gibbous is light on the right, then that means it's waxing. If it's dark on the right, that means it's waning. And waning is, I want to say getting smaller, but it's decreasing in light. I kind of already talked about the moon cycle and year cycle. Um, I really think it's important to look at it even if you don't have a cycle, and um, even if you don't menstruate on the new moon, because I really feel like, because my cycle's so out of whack, I really feel like that the reason I will menstruate on a full moon is because I've meant to shine my light internally versus um, when you're menstruating on the new moon, you should be in the dark phase, in the hibernating, in the resting, in the rejuvenating phase. Um, Whereas when I'm menstruating on the full moon, it's like an internal active time for me, if that makes sense. Like reading, writing, journaling, mentally processing things, solving problems, figuring things out. So it's an active time, but it's like an internal active time, if that makes sense. And then same with the quarters. Um, I also want to point out that your birth year has a moon phase cycle as well, and your birthday is the new moon. So the reason I know this to be true is usually like a couple months or at least a couple weeks before my birthday, I start to get depressed and sad, and it's kind of like you're like, what do I do with my life? So you're like mentally processing like how your next year is gonna be, and um, at least that's been my experience. And then like 6 months from your birthday is your full moon time, and that's like your most active, productive time. Um, and then the wheel of the year also coincides with the moon phases. Winter being the new moon or the dark moon, and summer being the full moon. And then we go just a little bit more of zodiac descriptions than the previous one had. You've got your keywords on there, the dates of that zodiac season, and different crystals to use and colors that are associated with with each zodiac sign. And that works for if you got the candle set, the colors associated with each zodiac sign. You should have a corresponding color candle to burn for that new moon or full moon or um, whatever phase or whatever sign is on the new and full moon. And then we get into the monthly. I've already kind of written on mine, but so the monthly spread, and I don't use a monthly calendar for anything other than just like dumping everything if I need to jot it down really quick. I typically use Post-it notes to stick in there, or I'll use the blank space for just writing everything I need to do. If I'm like, oh, in August, I have to remember to do something. I just go flip through to the August month and write it down. And then it's really the weekly that I'm just like pulling from that list and putting everything weekly according to either the moon phases or just according to like how my schedule works. Excuse me, I'm not used to talking this much. I've been so isolated. So the monthly, I'll have like new moon journal questions, activities, ideas, whatever. It talks about that specific moon phase sign or new moon sign, and just kind of things that are corresponding. Like for the first one, we're moving into the summer solstice. There's more information about that. And then that takes us to the moon tracker, which is a little bit different than the first phase, but basically it's the same. You have your day, your sign, your zodiac sign, and then your moon phase. I put in the rating 1 through 5 so that you can like shade in your energy level or your mood level. Um, you can track your personal cycle, and then just any notes about stuff. What I like to put in the notes section is like I have a lot of food sensitivities, so it's like I like to keep track of that. Especially if like my energy level is low or if I'm sad or depressed, I always write down like, well, did I have gluten? Did I have too much sugar? Did I have alcohol? Or um, just like random stuff like that. Or if just something like an event happens in my life, like, well, yeah, no duh, I felt like shit today because somebody died or something horrible happened. And as well as just like good things that I want to remember, like, oh, today was the best day because of this, and um, stuff like that. Because in that way, you can kind of decipher, is my mood because of something physical in my life, or is um, the moon phase actually affecting my mood? Which for me, it usually is the moon phase. I would think that you would think that I would be a Cancer because I feel so sensitive to everything. Because Cancers are usually, because the moon is their ruling planet, they typically just feel really connected and drawn to the moon. But I'm a Leo, so I should be connected to the sun. And really, I mean, my skin, it's red because I can't go out in the sun. So moving on to, I don't know what this post-it means. Moving on to the weekly spreads, you have your weekly card, and if you don't have an oracle or tarot deck, I do weekly card pulls in the Facebook group. So I'm getting better at posting it on Sunday, and then you have like Sunday and Monday to respond and for me to get back to you with your card. So if you don't have an oracle or a tarot deck, I will pull a card for you. However, if you don't have one, I recommend doing it because it is so helpful for mental health, spiritual health. Um, I really don't know what I would do without it. And oracle cards are great because if you're intimidated by the tarot or scared of the tarot or whatever, oracle cards are so easy to understand, and it's really more like what you intuitively pick up on, but most of them even have some words written on it that, like keywords that you can relate to, um, or I mean, they all have like books and stuff that, I mean, um, yeah. So get an oracle deck, or if you don't want one, or if you're not interested, I can always do that. I can always pull for you, or you can use that space for something else. And then there's always going to be information about the quarter moon phase. This is the new moon, so it's just like a little brief description with the keywords, the colors, and stones recommended for that week. The stones are sometimes going to be enhancing that moon's energy or zodiac sign, or balancing it. Like if you're a fire sign and the moon is in a fire sign and you're just like bouncing off the walls going crazy and you can't focus on anything, sometimes the balancing stone will be recommended to just kind of bring you back down to earth. Or you might want to, so it's like balancing or enhancing. And sometimes it'll just be for the moon phase. Sometimes it'll just be for, but I do explain like why I picked that stone for that particular week. And then there's just blank spaces for you to either put your to-dos, you can put your new moon plans, and then there's dot grids on the side where you can also jot things down, or if you like to do bullet journal type of drawing stuff, I know people were asking for more space, so I tried to give more free space as much as I could. And with the dots, you can use it as a list, or you can use it for drawing and bullet journaling and stuff like that. Um, I prefer the weekly or the vertical spread. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I really struggle finding vertical spreads that in planners that I like. So I intend to do um, horizontal spreads eventually. It just wasn't financially possible this time. Um, but I use these little. I get these at the dollar store. They last me forever. Like one pack will last me like an entire year, and so I use these dots in the vertical layout for my appointments or things that I need to do. There's more information about setting this up in Virgo season to help get organized. I'm trying to look in my old one to find an example of how I do my appointments, but I have, oh, okay, here's one. I have like all the, I have mine like sectioned with paper clips, so I don't know. I was just looking for one really quick. So I use these little green dots for appointments. I use the white ones for like personal stuff, and I use the colored ones for work stuff. And I visualize it as a day. So, for example, like on this day, oh, you can't, so there's another dot right here. But visually looking at your day as morning, noon, afternoon, and evening, I can see right here that I've got this big chunk of time in the afternoon that I can like get my chores done or get some work done. And then I also have this big chunk in the morning that I can get stuff done. So it just helps me to figure out my day, because if I don't plan these little chunks of times, I really like, I'll just spin around in circles and like I won't get anything done. So the vertical planner is really important to me. And there's really not, like I used to use the Happy Planner, and the only vertical one that they had at the time that I was using it, which was only a couple of years ago, the only vertical one they had was the fitness one, and I didn't like the fitness one, so I would just be like basically designing my whole planner, but just using their paper, which is kind of how that started me wanting to design this planner. And I haven't seen a lot of the other moon planners or astrological planners in vertical, so it's just really important to me, but I totally understand needing and wanting the horizontal. So one day, I will, that is like my goal. One of my many goals. So again, there is more about like planning and scheduling and using the vertical planner in September, I think, or the end of September, beginning of September, end of September, because that is the Virgo new moon. So that's like restructuring, reorganizing your life. Yeah, so it's the Virgo new moon in September. And so there's like different templates, and for figuring out like your work day, your not work day, and your, as well as just like routines and rituals to just get your day organized. I kind of lost my place. We were looking at the weekly. And so, I mean, every week is going to be the same. And then you have kind of the same thing for the new moon. You'll have like a description of the season. So the full moons will have the zodiac season, and then as well the full moon sign. And so there's just like different activities. This one in particular is um, goes with the stickers that you got. You may have gotten these cool holographic ones, or since they were really popular, I got these ones to replace them. I love this little, where is he? This little moon guy. He's so cute. Oh, there he is over there. So these are go with this particular spread for the full moon in Capricorn at the end of June. And then the weekly spreads are the same. Throughout. And the new moons are different. Sometimes they have, and it's the new moons that have the blank spaces, the blank bullet journal pages. And then back to the moon trackers again. So every new moon has the new moon information, the mood tracker, journaling questions, activities, whatever. And then the full moon does as well. And I totally lost my place, so I'm not sure what else I wanted to tell you. I'm just so excited to get started, and I hope that you're just as excited. Oh, okay, so the paper sucks. It's not supposed to have a coating on it, but I guess for whatever reason, the thicker coating, it's not glossy, but it's not right. I'm really disappointed, and like I'm switching printing companies, mostly for this reason, but they have had a lot of printing issues with the last copies. So, I mean, it's a whole thing, but I apologize because I know that people were kind of disappointed with this. It's not glossy, but it's not matte either, so it kind of makes for a weird grip. My favorite, or tooth, is that what it's called? Paper has a tooth? I don't know. So my favorite pens to use are these Papermate felt tip pens. I don't know why. I don't see a lot of people using them, but I love them. They're so perfect, and they work really well on this without smearing. Whereas like the gel pens, you might have to let them dry a little bit if you're using them on this paper. Your regular roller bottle should be fine. I like to use, oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that. I like to use colored pencils for coloring in the moon phases. So every week is going to have, like this is the new moon, but the other moons are empty with the zodiac sign, and you're encouraged to color those in. Let me see if I have, oh, I didn't do mine that week. Because the colored pencils will allow you to see the zodiac sign still. And this one, like for example, this one I used like a pen that still showed the zodiac sign through. That one I just did pencil. Apparently I did pencil some days. Yeah, I did pencil on that day, and then pen on the other. Just because if the color is light enough to so that you can still see the zodiac sign through the color. And I just thought of something else too, and now I can't remember. Oh, I forgot to talk about where the calendar for like the whole year is also, there's also space for you to go back and put in your new moon intentions, starting way back at the December new moon. And the reason I did this because I really like to, I mean, I know in this one you have that the place for all of your new moon intentions, but I really encourage you to go back and revisit them, because sometimes like you'll look back at December and you're like, oh wait, I still want that, but I don't have that. So you can incorporate that into the next new moon. Or if you're like I still want that, but it didn't work and I know why it didn't work, but I think I know a better way that it'll work now. Um, so I just really encourage you to go back and revisit it. And some of it you might be like, holy shit, I did that. And I got, and like, check that off. And I just love check. I'm a big fan of checking stuff off. So I just think it's really great to revisit. And then I encourage you to do it again at the end of the year, um, which will be one of the activities at the end of the year too, is to go back and look through all of your intentions and see what worked. What did you accomplish? Celebrate the things that you did. And yeah, I'm so excited. I'm sure I missed something. I had all these notes and I was trying to be like very Virgo about it. But I think I got carried away. So if you need, please excuse mine because it's covered in cat hair, because everything in my life is covered in cat hair. But if you need a cover to keep, I keep both phase 1 and phase 2, as well as just like a regular spiral bound notebook in this one little cover. And then you can keep them all together. It has, you can see the cat hair flying. I'm so sorry. I promise the one that you order will not be covered in cat hair. I've been trying really hard to keep them. So there's pockets in the front, and that's where I keep my little stickers. I've got like Post-it notes and all sorts of notes, like a million things in here. And then also in the back, I keep another blank notepad because I'm constantly like writing shit down. And let me take out this regular one. So I've been practicing with the, if you aren't sure what they were, everybody with your planner, you got these little, tabs, because that was something that was requested in the group for last year, or for earlier this year. So you have these little tabs that you can use to add tabs. I haven't done it to the planner yet. I thought I might actually come live and we can do it together. So I came up with a couple different ways to do it. So if you see this first one, is basically just sandwiched through. So this side for you to write on, this is the blank side, and then the pretty side goes on the back, so that it's like white and then the pretty side's on the back. And then you just sandwich it in between the paper, or whatever page you want to put your tab on. Oh, you can't even see that, sorry. Whatever page you want to put your tab on. And then I used clear packing tape. And I was thinking about coming live and doing this like with you. So I took clear packing tape and like you stick it on one side and then you wrap it around to the front. And then that kind of seals it, makes it waterproof. Just make sure that you write on it before you do that, unless, I guess maybe a permanent marker might work over the packing tape. Or packing tape where it makes a good dry erase thing too, if you thought that it wouldn't get too smudged. So that's one way to do it. I'm sure like glue or something would work if you didn't want to use the packing tape. And then, so the other way I did it was Um, my husband has like, for some reason at work, he uses razor blades and they get just like boxes and boxes of razor blades. So, like, for example, this one, um, just so that like it looks pretty, like you're having the like pretty color, that the way I did that was I just cut a hole in one tab, like cut a rectangular hole, and then again you're just sandwiching them together, and then that leaves like an empty hole for you to write whatever you want on there. um, and then again I did the same thing with the packing tape. But if you don't want, if you want to be able to like reuse, like if you want to write in pencil and then like change it to something else later, you can just do the, like, still sandwich it in between the paper, but just do the tape on the bottom without it going over the top, if that makes sense. Um, okay, yeah, so that's one way to do it, and then I feel like there was one more that I did, but maybe not. Yeah, I guess it was that two ways. It just depends if you want to like still have the pretty colored paper, or if you just don't care if they're just plain white. So so this I was just practicing on, but I definitely like the way. I actually kind of like it alternating, like it with white colored, white colored, white colored. But whatever you want to do, and if you are interested in doing it live, let me know, because otherwise I'll just do it. Because so I gave everybody 12, and that should make 6 tabs, unless you don't want to sandwich them. Like, you probably, I mean, I'm sure you could just use one tab and stick it to the edge of the paper and just use it like that. So in that case, you would have 12. Everybody should have 12 tabs. I just thought that like sandwiching them together would make it like thicker and reinforce it. Um, but I gave you 12 just in case someone wanted to use it for the months, because there's 6 months in the planner. But how I use mine, or like I'm using paper clips right now, but like in the new one, I'm going to use tabs instead of the paper clips. So in that case, you can mark like these are the Newman intentions, or you might want to mark all the zodiac information, like mark where that is, or you might want to mark where the moon phases are. I also like to section off my habit tracker or mood tracker, because that way I can just turn to it really quickly, and it's just there so that I can fill it out every day, and then I can go back to whatever week I'm on. So those are just some ideas of how you can use your tabs, if, and especially if you're like, what the heck are these for? Because a lot of it, like I was using paper clips. Some other people in the group were using paper clips to section it off, and another person used Post-it notes, which worked really well for her, and she shared that with everybody, and I love that idea. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody could like utilize it how they wanted to, and make it customizable to whatever you. Well, I guess I should show you. So if you decide to get a notebook cover, they just have these like 3 elastic bands in the back, so you can hold up to 3 notebooks. And technically 4 if you use like just the regular notepad. I just stick that on the back pocket and it works fine. So yeah, you just stick it, like you open it up, and then you take one of the, let's see if I can show it to you. And then you take one of the elastics and you just slide it through. And then you do the same thing with the other one, and then they're just all nice together, nice and neat and organized, because I need all the help with organizing that I can. But you don't even have to put both planners in here, since everything is transferable. Like all your intentions and stuff is transferable, so you could just use the planner and then put a journal or a notebook, or just a blank notebook like this is. So that way I just always have it with me, and I love it so much. I'm like, it's like my Bible. I don't know where to go. I can't go anywhere without it. Let's see. Oh, and you got, this is a new, everybody got a button. This is like a working logo, and possibly how like the design is gonna flow for 2022, because I just started working on that already. I'm so excited, and that's why I'm just like so excited to get into phase 2, so that means that 2022 is coming up even faster. And again, thank you so much for all of your support, and I really, really, really appreciate any feedback. Like I know there are some things that don't work for some people, and I really appreciate hearing that. I really, really do. Don't think you're going to hurt my feelings, because you might, but who cares? Like, I just want to make it better. I want to make it how you want it, just not how I want it. So let me know. I really appreciate any feedback, and thank you so much for your support. This has probably been the longest video ever. Oh my gosh, almost an hour. So thank you so much, and I'm really excited. I'm hoping to oh yeah, you also got a candle for the new moon. If you didn't get a candle, don't worry, it's on its way to you. And I'll either do a guided meditation for the new moon in Gemini in June, or we'll do like a live video where we can all light a candle together and support each other and our intentions and all that fun stuff. So yeah, look out for that. I'll let you know when that's coming. Check into the group, make sure you're signed up, and so that you get notifications for the weekly card pulls on Monday. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much.